Hey folks, excuse me. Here's a little information for you. You're watching YouTube all the time, right? You see these ads for these movies and shows you want to see. One of them that I wanted to see had Kevin Sorbo in it, and it was about a little girl who prays and heals a bird. And in the ad, it said you needed to go to PureFlix to be able to watch this show. Stop right there. Because PureFlix is not free. I'm telling you right now, it is not free. It is a money grabber. That's what they're doing. They're trying to grab your money to pay for a subscription to show this show you wanted to see. Now, I have learned that you don't need the subscription to PureFlix to watch any of these shows. To watch any show, whether it's Hulu, PureFlix, or whatever. If you have a Roku device, an Apple device, whatever device you have, all you need to do is type in, like I did, Kevin Sorbo. It'll show you all the movies or shows Kevin Sorbo has acted in. You scroll through them and you find the show you want. And that will take you to the set of where that show is showing. Now, one of the places that I often find it is on, I think it's called Flix or something. It's a free subscription. You don't have to pay for it. And you can watch these shows. So don't fall for the money grabbing PureFlix game. You don't have to. It's not needed. The only thing you need to do when you see these shows advertised on YouTube and it says you've got to go to a certain streaming platform, and then when you get to it, it says you have to pay for it, don't do that. Back out of that. Get the heck out of there. And then go to your search system in your TV device, in your streaming device, and search for the main actor. They always show the main actors. And you will find the show. And even on the PureFlix ad, which is supposed to be a religious station, they do not put the actual name of the show on it. There is a reason they don't. Because if they put the actual name of the show on it, you can more easily find it free. But if you just type in the name of the actor, like in this one, it's Kevin Sorbo. You type in the name of that actor into your search, it will show all the shows he's ever been in. And you'll be able to find the one you want for free. Stop falling for these money grabbers. They play their tricks, they play their games, they claim to be Christian, they claim to be this, but really what they are is money grabbers. They want to grab your money. I believe in God, I believe in Jesus Christ, but I don't believe in the greed of the churches, the greed of big corporations, and the greed of big business. There is always a better way to do something without having to go into their greed. It's just like the popularity of those cut jeans. Go out and buy yourself a $9 pair of freaking jeans and cut the holes yourself. If you need it to be the name brand because you want all your friends to ooh and ah, go to the thrift store, buy a pair of the same brand of jeans you want for $2, take the tag off of it and put it on your pants. It's just as good. In fact, it's better because you're not going with a uniform rip that does not match where you want those tears to actually be. Some of you want them down your legs. Well, some girls and some guys have tushies that hang a little lower than other people. And so when the cut comes across your tushy, part of your tushy is showing, and you may not want that. So if you go out, buy the jeans, and cut them where you want them, and it's not hard to do, even the ones with the line. You just cut the string that goes up and down like this, and pull those strings out. You cut it where you want the cut, and you pull those strings out, and then you end up with the cross threads still in there. You want to have a little bit of stonewash look. You take some bleach and you water it down, I think about 50-50. You rub it where you want the stonewash to be, and then you throw it in the wash. That spot is going to bleach out. I'd leave it sit for a couple minutes before you throw it in the wash. Then you end up with the stonewashing exactly where you want it. Not where some uniform factory put it and then charged you $200 and $300 for it. It's ridiculous. So people, come on. If you want to watch a show that was advertised, don't go to the platform that's going to charge you $15-20 for a subscription for a streaming platform you may watch maybe once a month. Go in, and if they're not giving you the proper name of the show, you at least know who the actors or actresses are. Type their name in and find the show that way. It's a little more work, granted. But a little bit more work on your part, isn't it worth that saving that $15 for something you need? So remember, every time you allow these streaming companies or clothes companies or decor companies to rip you off on something that with just a little more work you can get for cheaper or free, you're telling them that it's okay to gouge you. Same thing with the gas companies. They know you need that gas, so they gouge you. If you went out and you found yourself, if all you needed your vehicle for in town, you can find for $8,000 an inexpensive small car that you can drive around 60 miles for 60 miles away from your home or travel time off of one charge. And it'll go anywhere from 21 to 27. Some of them even go 40 miles per hour. And so you'd be able to do your running to work and home, and it'll only cost you the cost of electricity. If your electric company is charging you too much, yeah, you're going to have to spend an extra $1,000 for a solar panel and a solar generator to plug your car into. Then guess what? You've paid $9,000 and get all the energy you need to run that car for free for the rest of its life. Just a little bit more. Instead of paying $100 a month to charge that vehicle off of your home grid, which is ridiculous. You can even get solar panels that will mount onto your electric car to make your battery go even further. So if you get 60 miles, you might get 70. Just a little bit more. Just a little bit harder, a bit of a harder work. If you've got the money to do it, you want to do it, fine. many of you are out there hollering about being paid starvation wages and not being able to afford the basics? We're not talking about phone and internet and all the your vehicle. We're just talking about the basics. The food you need in your stomach, the roof you need over your head, the air conditioning to keep you cool in the summer, the heat to keep you warm in the winter so you don't die from heat stroke and you don't freeze to death. If you can't afford that on your wages, then you can't afford all this other stuff. And you should be going out there and seeking ways to find a cheaper way to do it. Take the money out of the hands of the money grubbers who gouge you and put the money back in your own pocket by finding just a little bit more work or just a few dollars more for an upgrade on an electric car so that you can go further or to buy that electric car. In the end, you're going to be better. Oh, I know. The electric car doesn't have the same sound as a gas engine. You know what? The gas company's counting on you for that. They love that noise pollution. They love that pollution in the air because that puts money in their pocket. Go out and get yourself a CD that's got the sound to it and pop it into your CD machine. I mean, for gosh sakes. Is that sound so much more important than being able to put food on your table, clothes on your children's back, a roof over your children's head, to give you some heat for the winter and some air conditioning during the summer? Is that worth all of that? You start showing these corporations you're not putting up with it, they'll stop doing it. They can have all the workers they want to make their product. But if nobody's going to buy their product because they're finding a better way, because that company is price gouging them, then they're not going to have all that money to be able to take advantage of you or to manipulate your political party or somebody else's political party. Biggest reason why some of these bad politicians get elected is because they've got some corporation that has been promised something they want. Less regulations, less check on how they pay their customers, less check on how they take and go out and charge for their product. They're out there talking to these politicians and saying, hey, if you can do this, we'll give you $10 million for your campaign. And then we'll even buy you $25 million more in advertising so you can get elected. And you won't have to talk once about policy. All you got to do is go out there and put on a show. And they do it. And then people like Trump get elected. Because all the money that gets tossed at them. Because they can. Because you keep on falling for their gimmicks, their games. You have to have that $300 pair of pants or you won't be popular. You won't be loved. You won't be appreciated. You won't be accepted. You have to pay that high price for your gas or you can't get anywhere. Gas companies know electric is coming. They know it. And so they're going to gouge you as much as they can to make as much money as they can off of it. And right now, you can find low-priced electric vehicles that can get you where you need to go. That's the only thing you need. You don't need something that's going to go 100 miles per hour. Where the hell are you going to drive a car in America at 100 miles per hour? You need a car that's going to get you from A to B. Now, if you live inside of a town, your speed limit in town is probably no more than 35 to 40 miles per hour. So you don't need a car that's going to go 100 miles per hour to get you from home to work. An $8,000 small car to get you from home to work that'll go 47 miles per hour, give you 60 miles per charge, would be enough. You wouldn't need any more. And the gas companies wouldn't be able to gouge you anymore. Gas used to be a waste product. And you could buy it for pennies because they threw it out. But then it became a necessity for a car. And so they started hiking up the prices. Kerosene used to be a waste product. Then somebody learned how to use it for lighting and heating. And they started gouging their customers for it. Because they could. And they didn't start right away gouging you for it. They started gouging you for it after that product became so ingrained into society that it was an absolute need. For heating your house, lighting your house, running your vehicle so that you could go farther and you didn't have to own a horse. It almost costs more nowadays to run a car than it did to ride a horse and buggy. The only reason why we don't want to go back to a horse and buggy is because the mess on the ground. You got horses pooping all over. Well, then you got to have people to clean it up. Because the inconvenience of how slow a horse and buggy is. People wanted a faster vehicle. People didn't want to have to take care of an animal. People couldn't afford the space for the animal, and they didn't want to rent a horse and buggy to be able to go other places. In owning a car, you don't have to have a field to be able to feed your car. You don't have to deal with vet bills. You don't have to deal with the poop they're going to leave on the public streets. You don't have to deal with the care for the animal, the feed for the animal in any way, shape, or form. The only thing you have to deal with the car is get in your car, pay for gas, and go. Okay? But today, to go that same 60 miles on gas every day, you could afford to keep one horse and be able to take care of everything needed for that horse. For a week, actually, one horse, you need an acre's worth of land with some grass in it. You need to have grain for them, and you don't need a whole lot of grain. $40 worth of grain, which you put $40 worth of gas in your tank. $40 worth of grain should last a horse at least a week, if not more. So, all you have to worry about is the buggy. Okay, the buggy, you can buy one or you can make one. All you need is some wheels and a platform. And there you go. You got a buggy. Put some sidewalls on it, a seat on it. You got a buggy. Make some harnesses for your horses. You got a buggy. Only costs you the cost of the wood. It doesn't have to be fancy. It just has to work. But you're willing to go out there and tolerate the price gouging of gas companies because you want the sound of that engine. So you pay for that price gouging instead of going out there and getting an affordable car that runs on electric, that you can use solar panels to charge it with. And that electric car in a lot of these electric vehicles, if there's something happens where you have a power outage in your house, you can plug that electric car on and it can run as a generator. If you've already got solar panels, you don't have to worry about plugging that car in to run it as a generator. You've got a generator for power outages. You can keep your air conditioning going. You can keep your heat going, especially in Texas with the way things have gone the last 2 winters. You could keep going. No, you don't get the rev of the engine, but you can still keep going. But you want the rev of that engine. And because you want that rev of that engine so bad, that gas company out there knows they can gouge you. They can send you in the poorhouse with their product and they don't care. And they can pay their workers starvation wages because they know them workers need that job. Start demanding better. You lay back and you allow them to do that. You allow these streaming companies to do that to you. You gotta pay for the subscription to get the show. No, you don't. You can find a better way to do it. But you've got to get out of your modern day mindset. You've got to stop thinking about how you've got to have that brand name, how you've got to have that engine that revs, how you got to have that one show a week on $14. Got to stop thinking about how you have to go to that movie theater to see that new outcoming movie and spend $100 just to be able to get into that movie and have a few snacks. It's ridiculous. You feed into their greed every time you're willing to pay that money. Because you're too lazy to look for an alternative. Keep up that mindset. And pretty soon, the corporations will have all the power. And you little people will be left as nothing much more than slaves, living in tents, with barely enough to buy the food you need to eat. Oh, but capitalism is also great. Capitalism is great so long as the workers have just as much power as the corporations. Right now, the Fed keeps it so the workers don't have that power. The corporations have all the power. Take a look at SVB. They just got bailed out for bad decisions. Did their workers get bailed out? Did the workers that got laid off get bailed out? No. they were lucky if they got on workman's comp that paid them only 80% of what they were making in the first place, taking a 20% cut from an income that they can't live off of in the first place. Now, am I totally against capitalism? No, I am not. Am I totally for socialism? No, I am not. But there is a balance between the two. Because if you have a totally socialistic society, you have a society that still caters to the powerful. The powerful on the top get the most, while those on the bottom get handed crumbs. In a capitalistic world, the people up in the power have the most power to give you the least. And you're still the same place you were with a socialist economy. You need to marry the two systems. You need the socialism in the fact that if a company is making bigger profits, they need to pay their workers bigger wages. Is that kind of socialistic? Yes, it is. But it's also capitalistic in the fact that that company's allowed to make those profits. But they're compensating their workers for the hard work they've done to make those profits. All capitalism isn't good, all socialism isn't good. But if you find a middle ground between the two, you might come up with something that's more fair and equal to those who have the smallest voice. And the same goes with these streaming companies. If all you're ever willing to do is go out there and pay for all these streaming companies because they're the only ones with that show you want to watch. Look, if you can't find it in another way, on another platform, then do you really need to see it? I say no. Pick a couple of streaming services that you like. Now, I use Hulu and I use Disney. That's a package that comes together. And I use Roku TV. I also pay for HBO, HBO, Showtime, and Encore. And do you know I get all that movie stuff and all those cheap TV channels, and then I have Pluto TV that I don't pay anything for. With all of those, I get everything that basic cable will give me and more for less than basic cable. These companies don't need to be charging you as much as they are. The services they're selling you, they get it for pennies compared to what you're paying for. For every penny of the cost that you pay for that service, they're making at least $3. And it's ridiculous. When I was a kid, we didn't have just 3 TV stations on regular antenna. If I remember right, we had about 10 stations. And the shows on those 10 stations were a lot more interesting, maybe not more visually interesting as far as graphics go, but they were a lot more interesting in content than what a lot of your TV shows are today. And they showed that show every day, every week, or every day of the week, without fail, season to season to season. Once season 1 was over, season 2 started. Nowadays, the content of those programs, most of them suck. And then once a good show comes on, you get season 1. Once that is over, you can wait anywhere from 3 months to a year for season 2 to come up. And they're getting paid more. It's ridiculous. Completely, totally, utterly, and thoroughly ridiculous. And it's because we let them do it. We have to have it so they can charge us whatever they want. Demand better. Force better. Stop falling for their price gouging and their tricks. Now, I just showed you a way that when you see these advertisements for these shows and you can't get it unless you pay for a subscription, a way you can still get that show just by typing in the name of the actor that's in that show. And you can get it for free. So stop playing their game, because they know they can pull that game on you. And they know you'll fall for it.